All right, officially Sunday. It's Boulder Cup day, and I have a ton of stuff to talk about, but I have no idea how I'm going to do all these videos. So, yeah. We're actually starting a tad bit early. My brother's looking for shiny Psyduck, so we're going to do that for a little bit, and then we're going to head over to the tournament. I'm getting there earlier because there was no registration code, there was nothing like that online, so I want to go and try to get registered before the tournament starts. That way I'm not the one holding everybody up. I also want to ask about filming and all that good stuff to make sure I'm not breaking any rules. So yeah, see you at the tournament. Okay, so I'm going to try to kind of like stay away from everybody so that they don't see me. So I just wanted to go over really fast. So these are the Pokemon that I chose to bring today. Skarmory, Marshtomp, Breloom, Agron, and Medicham. So the reason that I chose double Skarmory is just because of how strong it's going to be. I know that it's going to be really, really tough. That was the one TM that I needed. It was going to be the last one that I TM'd because I knew that it wasn't going to be a guaranteed Sky Attack. So I wanted to save it for last and just get more coverage based on the ones that I knew I could guarantee. Marshtomp with Water Gun instead of Mud Shot, only because Water Gun is going to cover ground types and it will cover any fire types that do happen to appear. And Surf is just going to obliterate. Breloom with Counter Dynamic Punch and Seed Bomb. I opted not to go for the Grass Knot, just simply because I felt like Seed Bomb would be a better choice. Agron is my kind of like ace in the hole, so to speak. He's going to be Steel type and Rock type, so he does have a little bit of a drawback to the Rock. The whole reason that I have him is he's going to be good against Skarmory. Dragon Tail is going to do neutral damage to Skarmory, I think, off the top of my head. And then Thunder is definitely going to be what I go in as. It's basically like having Steelix, except he's got Thunder on him, so I like that. And then, of course, the Medicham. He was also one that I needed to TM, but I didn't get it, so it is what it is. It's going to be all good. I have Psychic in case I come up against a pure fighting type like Hitmonchan or Hitmontop or anything like that. So that is actually what I've got. And really fast, let's just go ahead and do this egg since it's going to hatch. We've been walking around quite a bit today. Let's smooch them. Alright guys, so here is the beginning of the tournament. This tournament was hosted at a place called Reboot Arcade Bar. It's located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I spoke with the owner quite a bit during the day. He's a super nice guy. I didn't catch his name because I'm horrible with names and I'm sorry about that. But he definitely showed a lot of interest in Pokemon. He definitely wanted to do more tournaments like this. They actually may have ended up staying and doing a whole separate tournament that wasn't Boulder League specific. My brother and I did kind of have a little bit of a expiration date on time. We needed to get back. My fiance was, of course, getting hungry, and I promised her that I would bring food, so I did have some obligations to fill after that. So we decided to opt out of that tournament. So yeah, let's actually see how this tournament turned out. And I'll kind of commentate over all of the matches for you. Alright guys, so this is going to be the part where I kind of just do voiceover for my matches in the tournament. As you can see here, my first round, I go up against K Steelwall 21. and he's running a really respectable team. The Flygon is my only questionable choice, but it's really not too far out there. The Medicham looks good, the Breloom's good, Skarmory's good, Melmetal's good, and Marshtomp is good. It's just the Flygon's kind of a little out of place, but it actually isn't that bad of a pick. He could have picked way worse Pokemon. So, as you guys saw, my team was double Skarmory, Medicham, Agron, Marshtomp, and a Breloom. And we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to the action here. We're just kind of getting set up. I chose to lead with Agron and Skarmory, and Medicham, I believe, was my other pick. To be honest, I wasn't looking. He does take a second to look over and decide on what he's running. At this point, of course, he knows that I'm running double Skarmory. My entire plan with the double Skarmory is I wanted to kind of play a mind game and set up to where they knew that I was running double Skarmory, but I wanted them to plan for double Skarmory, but I didn't want to actually use double Skarmory. It was just kind of me trying to play mind games. Here is where I actually get my biggest self-criticism for today. I had horrible leads and horrible switches. So here's a pretty common glitch. Essentially, if you switch out your Pokemon during a charged attack, the game just kind of doesn't know what to do. So we restarted, and no harm, no foul. We started out with the exact same team, exact same setup to try to mimic as close to that previous match as we could. And the only thing that I really planned was to carry it on until his first attack, and then I would try to shield as close to that as I could without breaking the game again. So, of course, knowing that Marshtomp more than likely has Mud Bomb because of how much damage he's doing to me, or not Mud Bomb, Mud Slap. Because I know that he has Mud Slap, he is tearing through the Agron, which was a horrible decision on the lead. Marshtomp was definitely the MVP lead of the day in my opinion. He's definitely the most important lead because he has probably the most secure matchups. And as you can see, I switched to Medicham to try to get off an Ice Punch, and I'm pretty sure he just charged up his Marshtomp and then swapped out to Skarmory. Of course, I'm at the disadvantage here because I switched and I'm no longer able to switch until my next switch happens. As you can see, I'm trying to do damage. I'm pretty sure he shielded that. It just didn't show up for some reason. As you can see, Medicham goes down pretty heavy, and I whip out Agron here because Agron was my one and only Skarmory counter, and it did really well. It actually does really well. I want to actually give a little bit of praise to Agron there, because with Dragon Tail doing neutral damage and then Thunder as a charge move, he actually excelled in the whole purpose of me having him. The only problem is he's quad weak to ground. So of course, here I pull out my Skarmory and try to take out the Marshtomp. His Marshtomp with Surf does pretty good damage to my Skarmory here. I'm actually going to save this Sky attack. My entire plan through most of the day was to try to lock people out from using their shields, because you can just fast attack. Knowing that he has one shield left, of course he chose the Melmetal, which was just a great pick up against my Skarmory here. And I'm going to do not very effective damage. He knows that, so there's no point in trying to waste that shield. But considering it's the only shield he has left, he didn't care either way. Man, my Skarmory goes down. So that was game one. Very respectable. Now, here's where I fell completely short. All day long, I had such a problem with choosing in the second round. I had no idea how to choose for my second round for some reason. It was like I just went stupid. So here you can see me, I'm thinking that I know he's got Melmetal, and I know that he's got the steel types, so I want to bring my fighting types in. Problem is right there you just saw me switch off of Agron. Agron was my only Skarmory counter. If I would have chosen Agron and left the Marshtomp out, I might have had this a little bit more easily than then it went. So I feel like that is a big deciding factor, is what you lead with, because what you lead with is going to determine 50% of this match, especially in the Boulder League where the meta is so tight. It's going to be a really like coin toss kind of thing, depending on who does the better starting Pokemon. So of course I start out with Medicham. He's got the Skarmory, which of course I'm going to lose to all day long. Now I chose to have Water Gun on my Marshtomp, and it's exactly for the Skarmory matchup. Unfortunately, I just can't push enough damage. I decided not to shield because I knew as soon as I use this party, I knew that I didn't have a Skarmory counter, and I tried to save my shields for more important Pokemon. So here I'm completely baffled at what I need to choose, because no matter what I choose, I'm going to have to take super effective damage. So I start to use my shields here. The only thing that Breloom really has going for him in the Skarmory matchup is to die. He doesn't do well at all. So here I'm pretty much going up against a Medicham who's going to have Ice Punch, and I know that's going to do super effective damage. I decided to shield. I felt like my Breloom was worth saving, and I'm pretty sure I tried to just get off as much DPS as I could here. I wanted to try to make sure to take this Medicham as far down as I could. He was losing quite a bit of health, but he was tearing through me faster than I could tear through him. Counter is the best fast move in the Boulder League right now, for sure. So going at it, double Medicham. I have no shields left. I'm just going to have to eat this damage. I'm assuming he runs Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm again here trying to just save all of my charged attacks that I can. Now, if I would have had Dynamic Punch here, maybe it would have made a small bit of difference. And the reason is because right here, I take out the Skarmory. If I would have had a Dynamic Punch, I might could have taken out this Melmetal, because he's going to be weak to fighting. Unfortunately, I have Psychic, which I knew Steel was going to resist, so I had no option. He takes it with a clean 2-0 sweep. It was a great game. Shook hands. Very, very respectable fight. And remember his trainer name, because we'll come back to him in a minute. Alright, second match that we have here. I can't exactly remember what this trainer was using off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure this one was the not so meta picks, or maybe this was up against the shop owner. Yeah, this was up against the shop owner. So the shop owner chose some very interesting Pokemon. Shop owner had some really cool picks. I'm actually pretty proud that somebody just didn't go all meta, because it definitely gave some flavor to the tournament. Here again, I chose with Agron to go up first because I'm an idiot, and I should have known that people were going to be using Marshtomp first. So I decided to just let Agron die. I knew that the shop owner was not using any Skarmory, so I knew I didn't need my Agron. I chose him as a neutral lead because I knew Dragon Tail would do neutral damage. Unfortunately, most people's neutral lead was Marshtomp. So here I'm slowly taking out the Marshtomp. He's doing a little bit of damage to me, not too much. I don't know if he had Surf on his Marshtomp, but I definitely felt like Surf did a lot more damage than Mud Bomb did. So here he actually has a Soul Rock. What? A Soul Rock? Yeah, that's super cool. I am super happy that somebody actually uses a Soul Rock. So there, I actually just tried to bait out a shield from him. I knew that my Breloom was going to be able to push decent damage. I think he's using a Psychic fast move, to be honest. And I think that's why my Breloom was just dying so fast. So as you can see there, I was tapping the screen like a madman. I couldn't get my attacks to go off. But this Soul Rock is going to slowly go down to my Skarmory. I'm actually getting a little worried here. My Skarmory's health is about like 33% right here, so he's getting really close. But I knew that if I could kill whatever that Soul Rock was hiding behind, which ended up being a Toxicroak, I could have a better chance, because I just knew, that Soul Rock was going to be in the way for this last fight. And as you can see here, I'm pushing super effective damage. I have the tiniest sliver of health. This is super close. He doesn't have any more shields and takes super effective damage to end the Toxicroak there. So that was actually a hard-fought battle. Skarmory almost died. My Agron was a horrible choice up against the Marshtomp, but that's not going to be the last time you're going to see that, because, yeah, I'm an idiot. So here we go for match number 2. I knew that he had an Alolan Sandshrew, which I thought was a very cool pick. He had Alolan Dugtrio, which was a very cool pick. And he had the Soul Rock. He had an Aerodactyl. He had the Toxicroak and the Marshtomp. I think that makes all 6 of his. So I knew, based on what I saw, I knew that he has a couple of weaknesses to water. So I'm pretty sure here you see me switch out for the Marshtomp because of my Water Fast move. I kind of wanted to keep Breloom in. I can't remember if I did or not. I ended up choosing the Skarmory that has both flying type moves because I knew he had Toxicroak. And I chose Medicham over Breloom. That's what it was. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, you know, if he chooses that Toxicroak again, Toxicroak is actually going to be quad weak to Psychic. Therefore, my Medicham actually might get to use a charge move that's not Ice Punch. So going into this match, I'm really banking on him choosing Toxicroak and choosing a lot of ground type Pokemon. So my initial thought is to try to use. Here we go, leading with Marshtomp, which was probably my best move all day. He leads with Soul Rock again, and my water type moves are just going to shred through this Soul Rock pretty fast. The rock weakness to water is not going to let him do anything. I again here opt to not use charge moves to make sure that he cannot shield this. Even though I take a little bit of damage for it, it's going to be fine. He throws out his Marshtomp. So here I'm literally just going to spend all of my charge moves because I know that my Marshtomp is going to die to his Marshtomp. I just know it. So I'm going to try to push all of these charge moves, not try to waste any energy, because I think energy consumption is a pretty big deal. I think it's going to be something that can really set you up for a good battle or a bad battle. So just short of getting my second Mud Bomb there, I opt to go for Medicham here, try to get off an Ice Punch so that I can do some super effective damage, hopefully to his ground typing. I'm not even sure if the water cancels that out. So pushing it, his Mud Bomb just generates so much energy. I mean, his Mud Shot, I say that every time. His Mud Shot is just pushing so much energy. Allows him to get those Mud Bombs very quickly. Go for the Ice Punch. It does cancel out, so it's neutral damage here, but that's a-okay. Probably could have actually saved that and just let him use those shields on Dugtrio here. But as you can see, he does have an Alolan Dugtrio, which just goes down very quickly, as fighting is going to be super effective and that ice move is going to be super effective. Or the ice move is... yeah. Now, going up against Knockout 72 in round 3, first thoughts looking at his team, he's got a Skarmory counter, he's got some fighting Pokemon, a Sandslash, a Lunatone, Aerodactyl, and Armaldo. So he has 2 rock, a couple of grounds, and I'm thinking water's definitely going to do good here. I'm 99% sure that in my head I was like, Marshtomp is going to be the MVP here. So I do choose Marshtomp, and I actually go with Agron. For some reason, I chose to lead with Agron yet again. I have Agron, Marshtomp, and Medicham on the list. I end up swapping out Marshtomp for Skarmory. I noticed that all he has is a Magneton. Alright, starting off the first match, we have Agron versus Hitmonchan. Now, I do have a fighting weakness here. I don't know if he's using... Seems like he's probably using Bullet Punch, maybe. Probably not the best move there, but... Gotta work with what you got, for sure. So, all I did here is definitely charge up my moves for Agron and then quickly switched out. And as you can see, my Medicham with a counter fast move is going to be doing super effective damage to Magneton, so I am putting in work. I definitely shouldn't have wasted a shield there, but going hard, Magneton goes down. So I have already used both of my shields. I am shieldless, which was a bad idea. So Bug and Rock, going to be using Ice Punch here. Not even going to be super effective, so I'm really just right here trying to push as much damage as I can out of my Medicham. With no shields left, he has Cross Poison, which unfortunately only does half damage. I'm pretty sure he's going to resist it, if not quad resist it from Medicham there. So I'm using Psychic, trying to get anything off that I can. He's wasted both of his shields now, so we are both shieldless. I only have one more Pokemon than he does, and comes in with another charge move there. Not very effective, but actually takes down my Medicham. So here I'm using neutral damage as to the best of my ability, just trying to use any neutral damage. Of course, Agron is going to quad resist that good old poison damage there. Using this Steel move, Steel is actually going to be super effective against the Rock, and takes down Armaldo. Armaldo is a great pick. I'm super happy to see him show up. And here I've just got neutral damage, really just trying to push anything that I can. He of course uses Fire Punch again. I knew he had Fire Punch. I didn't know if he was going to have Ice Punch or Thunder Punch, but I knew both of those were going to be super effective. So Heavy Slam, taking out the Medicham there, and game one done. So that is it for game one. Choosing my team for the second match here, I have no idea what he's going to be choosing. Because some of his picks were just so off meta, I had no idea what to really choose. I did run the double Skarmory here, and I opted to choose Breloom. So I'm pretty sure in my mind I knew that he was going to be running a lot of rock and ground type, so I was hoping to actually use Breloom to get rid of some of the ground and rock types. I knew that Breloom would do good against the rock, and then he would actually cover the ground with his grass type move. So Alolan Sandslash, super nice to see that's represented as well here. Using Sky Attack, I honestly just should have saved it. I guess it was okay to bait out a shield there. I definitely should have saved that move. And here again, I charge it up and switch it out. Unfortunately, you see that I couldn't get the switch off just quick enough, so I decide to save my Skarmory's health here just in case he has something pocketed. I've got my Breloom, and going to be taking out this Alolan Sandslash very quickly. Quad weak to fighting. Steel and Ice is not do good against fighting at all. So he's got Lunatone. So Lunatone being rock and psychic, he's definitely got a psychic type move because I am taking damage way too fast here. Push the Seed Bomb. Of course, he blocks it, and I almost get my Seed Bomb off. So I've got two choices. I've got either Flash Cannon Skarmory, or I've got Sky Attack. Luckily, he chose to go Aerodactyl here. He thought that I had Sky Attack on the Skarmory. Notice that he hasn't seen the fact that I have two different moves on them. So I push out. He knows not to block. So I push out with Flash Cannon. Unfortunately, since Aerodactyl is rock type, that Flash Cannon is going to do super effective damage. He literally just threw his head back. He knew that the Flash Cannon was just going to take out his Lunatone. And just cleaning up some little damage here. Of course, I have my other Skarmory in my bag, even if this one goes down. Ended up dying, pulling out the Sky Attack. Of course, Sky Attack isn't going to do as much damage, but He just doesn't have enough health to hold on there at the very end. That is a 2-0 cleanup for me, so that actually makes my record up until this point a 2-1. At this point, my brother was also 2-1. And our last match of the day. This was probably the most difficult matchup for me because it was very, very close to what I was running. So, double Skarmory. Instead of the Agron, they were running Steelix, which I definitely expected, but I didn't really have good answers for it. Marshtomp would have been my only answer for the Steelix, but I don't remember her using Steelix at all here. So here again, going up into choosing my opening team, I have no clue what to choose. So I tried to opt for a all-steel team because really the only thing that was going to hurt this is Marshtomp. So I chose all-steel, Agron lead with 2 Skarmories, some super duper meta and some not so meta, and a wouldn't you know it, Marshtomp. Again, Marshtomp was the best lead of the day by far. I could not get around this Marshtomp here. I tried to at least charge my moves, but it was a hard-fought battle for Agron. Just couldn't do it. Of course, I don't know if she actually had Mud Bomb on that Marshtomp, but it definitely had Mud Shot for sure. So here I switch into Skarmory, just trying to keep my Agron alive because I know that if she has either 1 or 2 Skarmories on her team, then I'm gonna have a rough time. So as you can see, she goes Skarmory. My only Skarmory counter is in my pocket, but he has taken quite a bit of damage. So I opt to try to keep some health here, use up a shield, and go for a Flash Cannon immediately. And Flash Cannon actually does pretty well. To be honest, in the Skarmory mirror match, I would use Flash Cannon over Brave Bird all day long. Like, it just did so much more damage, which we'll see here in a second. So here again, I'm just trying to push damage, trying to get as much damage as I can out of Skarmory. And Flash Cannon, look at that. Look at that damage. That was like a 1/4 of the health right there. We're, of course, not even, but really close. And of course she uses Sky Attack. If I was her, I would have just saved that and used that later. Now, here was an interesting thing. I definitely chose Agron and it thought that I wanted to switch. So I chose Thunder. Honestly, if I could go back, I probably would have just fast attacked through that and then tried to actually save that Thunder for another matchup. But unfortunately, the Marshtomp would have come out and just destroyed my Agron there. So I'm trying to do any kind of damage that I can. I'm saving this Sky Attack as long as I can, just trying to get rid of this Marshtomp. And you can see the Marshtomp Surf just does such a good amount of damage on Skarmory. And boom, she had Skarmory in her pocket. Unfortunately, she definitely chose the better 2 Skarmories, and the Skarmory counter there being the Marshtomp. She definitely had the better pick to start off with, and I truly believe that that's what will decide matches for you. If you are going into tournaments later this month or even in the month of February for your Twilight League, you need to really do some research on how to lead, what you should lead with, because that's very important. So going into round 2, I know that she's got the double Skarmory, and I'm thinking, what do I do about it? I had no idea what I should have been doing. I was really just trying to pick the best that I could. Opted for Breloom, Medicham, and Agron there to back it up. Of course, Breloom goes out first because I figured maybe she was going to try to lead with Marshtomp again. So that's why I ended up having the Marshtomp. So that's actually why I ended up having Breloom first. And coming up, she starts with Medicham. So here again, she has the better first pick by a long shot. She has Ice Punch on this Medicham. Looks like she actually has Psychic on it as well, because it's doing way too much damage to be fighting, which is crazy. It's crazy that I got in touch with 2 Medichams that have Psychic today. So ended up using a shield there to try to stop. I honestly thought she was going to use Ice Punch. She may have not even had Ice Punch on there. Agron, terrible choice. I had nothing else to use. I literally just let it go. Being quad weak to fighting was just really, really rough there. So brought out Breloom, trying to get this last bit of damage in, barely hanging on. But of course, only have 1 HP there, so I try and can't get any damage out. Uses Skarmory, which is a great hook there. And here I'm just trying to push as much damage as I can with the last Pokemon that I have. This is the last round in the tournament. There was only 10 people that showed up for the whole tournament, which was a decent turnout. I mean, there was a couple of people that showed more interest on Facebook, and the owner and I sat and talked for a little bit about, you know, setting up a tournament and stuff like that. And he really expected there to be more people there today, but hey, 10 participants that's better than 0 by a long shot. So, but of course, you guys can tell where this match is going. Completely down. I have completely lost, and the last lady that I went up against, I think she went 3-1 for the day. I ended up going 2-2. My brother goes 2-2, and I'll actually turn it over to a little bit of footage of the end of the tournament. And based solely on how loud it was in this arcade bar, I'm just going to kind of commentate over this last clip. So, the guy who ended up winning, his name was Motown's Finest. He came out victorious today. He had 0 losses after 4 rounds. He was a great guy. I talked to him just a little bit after the tournament, and he was very humble about winning. He was a really cool guy. Definitely excited to maybe see him in future events here at the Reboot Arcade Bar. But I'm gonna throw up some actual screenshots that I took after the tournament, just to kind of show you a little bit of how the tournament turned out. So in this picture, you can kind of see the round 1, all of the matchups. Round 2, this stuff isn't really that important. Round 3, round 4, and let's scroll down here to all of the actual team compositions that we had. So Motown's Finest, let's actually look at his team here. So he ran a single Skarmory, Breloom, Melmetal, Marshtomp, Medicham, and Swampert. So he ran a Marshtomp and a Swampert, which was fairly smart. I think that the Swampert does a little bit differently than the Marshtomp. I think the Marshtomp is probably a little stronger because his stats can flex just a tad bit more, but I definitely think that the Swampert was a smart idea. Having 2 Marshtomps really can help you, especially with that opening pick. If you have a Marshtomp and they pick something bad, then you get an easy first Pokemon on them. Or if they pick something that actually counters your Marshtomp, you can pull out and still have 2 Marshtomps for later, essentially. So definitely good team composition there. I like it. The Melmetal, you guys know how I feel about Melmetal. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it definitely did put in its primary role today. And honestly, after today, I really wish that I would have went in with Camerupt, because most of my issues in my round 1 match, I lost to Skarmory counters, and that being Melmetal. If I would have had my Camerupt, I probably would have done a little bit differently, but I really don't know what I would have traded out. Maybe the Agron, thinking back, but that literally only leaves me with Camerupt as my Skarmory counter, which isn't the best Skarmory counter by any means. Melmetal is definitely the best Skarmory counter, don't get me wrong. I just really hate how that's the only thing Melmetal is good for. I really hate that. But anyways, so Motown's Finest, congrats, man. That was a great tournament. I'm glad you won. Glad you got your prizes. Hopefully, I will catch you at another tournament coming up soon. Definitely back at the Reboot Bar in late February, because they plan on having their next Twilight Cup. Twilight League? What's it called? I don't know. But they plan on having their Twilight stuff the last Sunday in February. So, if you guys are actually in North Carolina near Winston-Salem and you actually want to go out to the Reboot and play some Pokemon Go, definitely look them up. They're right there in the center of town, right off Liberty Street. Not hard to find at all. And the owner is like super cool. He'll sit and he'll talk with you about Pokemon, and I'm sure he'd love to play. He was talking about doing some impromptu tournaments. If there's ever like just happens to be enough people inside, then they'll throw one up and they'll do it. He definitely seems very interested in the PvP scene, and that's awesome. So yeah, so that is actually going to be all of the information that I have today, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the recap of the tournament, and hopefully I'm working on possibly holding my own tournament very soon. But I got some research to do into that, so we'll talk about that at a later date. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.